Yo, it's your boy Logos. And oftentimes I talk trash about Disney and how I think they've been handling Star Wars over the past few years. Well, today I want to break down one of my favorite scenes from the Disney Star Wars era, and this shows that you don't need explosions, crazy acrobatics, or anything like that to have a very good scene and to have something that your fans will remember. Sometimes it just takes paying attention to your characters, understand the character arcs that maybe have been taken on for decades or generations, especially when you consider people like Obi-Wan or even Darth Maul that's been around since the Phantom Menace and has been in many different shows or movies involving Star Wars. This scene, it takes place within Star Wars Rebels and is near the end of the series. It's after after Order 66 and the Empire is in control with Darth Vader and Palpatine. And at this point, from my memory, because this came out like 6-7 years ago, and to be honest with you, this series overall is pretty a little bit above average, but this scene right here is amazing. And at this point, Darth Maul has failed trying to take more power, trying to manipulate the main characters within the story. And now he's on Tatooine because I think he's looking for Kenobi or he's looking for the Chosen One. But either way, they're gonna go a little bit into the back and forth talking about why he's actually there. But let's just get into the scene, and I'm gonna pause it a lot just because I want to break down what makes it so good and how they play into the previous stories and how they have this all come together within this one fight. And the one fight makes a lot of sense, even though it's not like anything crazy like Yoda versus Palpatine. It's something that makes sense for the characters and what they add in the story. But let's get into it.
Look what has become of you. A rat in the desert.
Look what I have risen above.
I have come to kill you. But perhaps it's worse to leave you here, festering in your squalor.
If you define yourself by your power to take life, your desire to dominate, to possess, then you have nothing.
And what do you have? Why come to this place? Not simply to hide. Oh, you have a purpose here. Perhaps you are protecting something? No. Protecting someone.
See, it wasn't until Darth Maul caught on to what Kenobi was actually there for that Kenobi showed some type of emotional change, because he's at this point in his life, he's not War Kenobi, he's not the same general from the Clone Wars. He's much more, I can't think of the exact word, but he's used to this stuff now. He doesn't have the same drive or energy to fight. If it was up to him, he could handle it all through peacefully or negotiation. He had so many of his friends die, people that he known to care about die, people from because of Darth Maul died, like his master Qui-Gon or the love of his life. I can't remember her name right now, and I don't want to say Asajj Ventress because I know that's a Sith woman, but she has a similar name. Maybe is it Barriss? It might be Barriss, but that might be also the Jedi Padawan. Excuse me, from the Clone Wars that betrayed the Jedi Order. I can't remember the exact love of the life from Obi-Wan, but yeah, she was killed also by Darth Maul, and he's still controlling his emotions when this whole conversation is taking place until Darth Maul mentions or figures out that he's there to protect somebody, and now Obi-Wan sees him as a real threat. Like he has to fight him now, because if he doesn't, he's gonna corrupt Luke. See, he goes into his stance from the Clone Wars. Yep, he goes into his stance from the Clone Wars when he fought Grievous and other fighters during the Clone Wars in the movies and in the show. But then you're gonna see he evolve as the fight starts to take place. Now change your stances. See, now he just changed his fighting form, or fighting stance to that of his master Qui-Gon Jinn, who was killed by Darth Maul. And Darth Maul is going to realize that and take note of the stance that he's holding. It reminds him of Qui-Gon, and you're gonna try something to try to get rid of Kenobi. It was just so quick how he just cut him down. And what I loved about it too is that even though it's not nothing crazy or fast or jumping around, it takes like 5 minutes or like 15 minutes of a fight like Obi-Wan versus Anakin Skywalker, it made sense within the whole context of the story. It made sense for Anakin and Obi-Wan to be jumping all around and stuff on Mustafar because they were in their prime. They were literally constantly fighting wars. Anakin was definitely in his prime, and he was considered the chosen one at this point. So it made sense for him to do all this crazy stuff. It made sense for Obi-Wan Kenobi to be able to fight with him at that point because he trained him. He understood his fighting stance or his fighting ways. That doesn't mean he could always beat him, but he was more experienced. The fighting form he used was a much more of a defensive one, from my understanding, compared to Anakin's, which was a much more aggressive one. I can't sit here and tell you all the different, I think like 6 or 5 different lightsaber fighting forms. But from my understanding, Obi-Wan had a more of a defensive one. I think more trained for like fighting off like blaster shots because of the Clone Wars and fighting against a droid army. But either way, you can see the evolution of the fight. He started off with his Clone Wars stance when he was going fighting against Grievous and other people. Then he trained Qui-Gon stance, and then Darth Maul noticed that, and that's why he changed his feet and his stance. And it was just a simple. See, Darth Maul, he went for the I don't know what you want to call it, just like a upward thrust, but with the like the handle of his lightsaber instead of like the actual blades itself. Same way he got Qui-Gon and ended up killing him that way because he hit him with the, I think he was like the shot to the face in the exact same way, like for a fact, like he hit him in the exact same way, and that's how he got Qui-Gon killed right in front of Obi-Wan's eyes. He tried to do the same move again after you see Obi-Wan goes into Qui-Gon's stance. But Obi-Wan saw that coming and he changed his stance, or he changed the tactic he was going to fight him. That way he could be ready for that and cut him down right down the middle. And there's nothing Darth Maul could do because he put all of his strategy, or he put all his odds in to catch him the same way he caught Qui-Gon. And he wasn't going to think of a way to defend himself if that didn't work out. So he just got cut right down the middle. And it happened so fast you can't even really catch it unless you replay it a couple times. But it definitely reminded me like old school, well not very old school, just samurai fights like you see like on TV and stuff, or even sometimes in history. Sometimes it just take like a few seconds and all you do is let your guard down once and just one slice. Even in this part, they make homage back to the previous story because I know it sounds like I'm just going just balls deep into this, but it matters because it shows you that they have appreciation for the history and the characters. Obi-Wan is cradling Darth Maul just like he cradled the love of his life, which was killed by Darth Maul. And I think the same way he cradled Qui-Gon Jinn. Like even though he has his history with Darth Maul and all this stuff, like at the end of the day, Obi-Wan, in my opinion, is like the pinnacle of what a Jedi should be. Either him or Yoda, but I would still put it a little bit above with Kenobi, just because of the fact that he saw the error of his race. He didn't, I don't know, he just, even after the war and stuff, he just didn't allow himself to be stagnant, nor did he allow himself to just wallow away in exile. And that's not just like a shade at Yoda, because he's one of my favorite characters too. But all I'm saying is Obi-Wan still continued to, I don't know, defy the Empire in his own way to the best of his ability. And that was protecting Luke from somebody like Darth Maul or anybody else that would have came to look for him.
Tell me, is it the chosen one?
He is.
He will avenge us.
you can see like because it's so subtle in the animation, you can see that Obi-Wan like empathize in a way with Darth Maul, not because I don't know like yeah I would say yeah he feels sorry for him because he was manipulated. Darth Maul was created by the Sith and he was manipulated and betrayed multiple times by Palpatine throughout the Clone Wars, and that led to many people around Darth Maul being killed. I think his home planet, his brother that I can't actually remember the name of right now, was destroyed by Palpatine, and that's why I say he will avenge us because against Palpatine, against the Sith, against the people that betrayed and manipulated both of them, to cause suffering on both sides. And yes, even though Darth Maul caused a lot of suffering, especially for Kenobi, he can still see like this guy has suffered. This guy has been manipulated for a very long time, and even up until his death, he was still being driven by his own selfish desires that may or may not have been implanted into him by the Sith, Palpatine, and anybody else around him. So honestly, I think the series overall was pretty average. Maybe I'll say a little bit above average. To be honest with you, I fell off through like the third or fourth season, and then I got back into it to like just wrap it up and finish it off. But it was some good highlights, like this fight, like the return of Ahsoka, like Kanan. He was a pretty cool character. Darth Maul was very damn good throughout the series when he was in there. Introduction of certain characters like the Inquisitors, which they use throughout different series now. It was a decent show. I'll give them that. And there was particular parts within it that I felt they showed their love for Star Wars. If my understanding, Dave Filoni wrote and directed this, and this is part of the reason why people were saying for him to direct live action movies. Back when I was deep into movies and TV shows and news and stuff like that, 2015, 2016, people was clamoring for him to do actual movies, not just, animated type stuff, because the Star Wars franchise wasn't really doing that good, if you ask me. I was excited for The Force Awakens, but after that, it started to drop off significantly. And to be honest with you, the third one was like kind of like the final straw, because at that point I stopped caring. There was some pretty good movies along the way, but I don't know, overall, just seemed like there wasn't much direction. There wasn't much care for the franchise or the characters. And certain things like the story not being completely written out, planned out ahead of time before they start doing their own trilogy at Disney. I just heard that stuff on like movie news because it was a big deal at the time. And just stuff with that, reshoots, and then go and actually see the movie itself. I just really don't have the desire to invest my time in Disney right now. Until I hear multiple people, a lot of people that I trust and don't just consume any and every content that comes their way, say that this show is damn good, then I'll check it out. This has nothing to do with, I don't know, just hating anything coming from Disney or just wanting to be a contrarian, because I still watch some new shows that come out nowadays if they're good. Like House of the Dragon, I love that show. And I think it's going to be actually really good because the books are already done and finished. So I really can't screw that up. The same way, I think D&D or whoever that name was screwed up Game of Thrones. But either way, let me know what you think about this video, and let me know if you feel the same way about Star Wars. This type of scene really made me a fan of the show, or at least got me more invested to finish the thing all the way out. I can't remember exactly what episode this was, but I still think about the scene every now and then, as I should with Star Wars, because it's one of my favorite franchises, like Lord of the Rings, like many others. So I'm kind of sad that the series, the franchise, Disney really doesn't have their shit together. They have other priorities right now. And it's not even other movies, it's like other agendas, but it is what it is. That allows for other content and other stuff to be made or focused on. So whatever. Like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. This your boy Logos, and I'll see you next time. Peace.